Good morning, Signature Real Estate Group. We are so happy to have you listening in today. I am pleased to announce that we are going to have a virtual open house panel. Yep, because guess what? Open houses are still not allowed. We talk about a lot of these topics during our virtual office hours that are from 10:30 to 11:30. We're still doing them Monday through Friday. We've been talking about potentially leaving it as an option for agents so that you can plug in whenever you want to talk to a broker. So know that we're here for you. Know that 10:30 to 11:30 Monday through Friday you can call on us and have most likely anywhere from 2 to all of us, all the brokers on the call. So it's a constant thing. I think it's a great idea for you to just jump on and even listen to us. The only person who's not allowed to be without video is Christy Stark. And then we have been doing our virtual happy hours on Friday at 5 p.m. I think that we don't have as many people as we used to in the beginning, but we would love for you guys to come join us and just kind of relax and hang out with us as we drink and talk about life and what's happening and what we're doing and cooking our dinners and so on. Now, for our sales meeting, I know you guys have been waiting for me to shut up so that I can actually hand it over to essentially our panel. We have Tyson Roberts, Tamra Coulter, Bobbie Camacho, and Shelly Panzarella today, and we're going to be talking about virtual open houses. So I'm going to put this out there. Bobbie, your name is with a Y? I always thought it was an IE.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there.
Okay, so maybe
I thought it was IE too.
Yeah,
Brandon, I think Brandon screwed that up. I'm assuming that you changed it. Did you change it? Brandon's going to fix that for you right now. So one of the things that I wanted to start off with is why virtual open houses? Who wants to go first? Awesome.
I'll start on it.
Go ahead, Tamara.
Okay, so when everything kind of changed for our new normal, right? I knew I did not want to just sit around. I was like, I instantly lost a couple deals, and I was like, that's not okay, right? So I'm like, what can I do? And in fact, I got with Shelly, and it was like, look, I've heard some buzz about this and searching online. And what do you think about let's trying to do something here? So we instantly kind of got to work on that. And it was like, I wanted to stay in the momentum. I didn't want to sit at home. I knew there was obviously some heavy stuff going on, but there's also still people who need to move, right? And I needed to be a part of that and know that, hey, I'm still here, I'm still active, and I'm doing whatever it is I need to do. So that's why I started it. And now I love them. Quite frankly, I think it's great.
So does that mean no more regular open houses for you? It's always virtual?
I totally will still do open houses because I love because you get that interaction, but I also think it just helps kind of even hit more people who don't want to go out, especially here in Vegas when it gets hot. People don't really want to go to an open house when it's 115 outside, right?
Yeah.
So I'll still do the physical open houses when they come back, but I'll always keep incorporated the virtual as well.
Wow, look at that. So we took something where we all had to stay home, and you ultimately and everybody's been saying, right? You pivoted, and now it's become a part of your business for lifetime.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Absolutely. Tyson, did you want to add something to that or just say ditto?
Yeah, same thing, because I was always big on the open houses coming down here. And I saw it more too as an opportunity. Whoever figures out the open houses and figures out the best way to do that, that's a huge opportunity because not everybody's going to go do that.
Right. Awesome. Bobbie, did you want to add anything? Your name's correct now.
Yeah, no, definitely the same thing. I got together with Shelly too, so let's put something together. We did the very first one was not that great. It was like 5 minutes, only because we didn't know what we were doing. But now, we've kind of put it together, so it's been helping, and it helps. The feedback has been good too.
Yeah, so let's talk about that because I remember we were on, I think it was a virtual happy hour, Tamra, where you were like, "Hey, I'm gonna try this new virtual open house thing," and you started it. And of course, let me just also point out the common denominator here has been our support team, our the one that we love the most, Shelly
Absolutely.
Panzarella, has been
Yeah,
sort of, she's like the glue that's holding this together, right? For all three of you,
absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming. Um, but you said I have to go try this, and it was the first time I had heard somebody say that they were going to do a virtual open house was
Yeah.
when you mentioned it during one of our virtual happy hours. So that first time, how did it go? Let's talk about that.
Honestly, I think it went pretty well. The thing I learned that I did wrong is I didn't market it enough. I didn't push it out enough. So I think I had the homeowner on there with us as well.
Oh,
And she kind of was like sitting silently, but she liked being a part of it. So it's kind of cool because the homeowner now gets to be there without being there, because in our typical open houses, we don't want them there and things like that. Here, we kind of go over the rules, like just kind of sit there and, watch and things like that. And if you have something you want to say, text me or shoot me a private message and then I can add that in. I don't really let them still engage in it, just because I think that could cause more harm maybe eventually, and derail what my purpose is. But the actual feat of it, I think I did really well, because I toured we'll probably get into this later, but I do things outside of the house too, which I think really helps,
oh,
so, but all in all, it went really well. My downfall would have been, I didn't know how to really market it at that point, so.
okay. So let's talk about, is that pretty similar to what your guys' experiences were, Tyson, Bobbie?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one I did, like I think I just did a YouTube video property tour and set it up to where like you can do an Eventbrite and then it would email you
Yeah.
like the video. So I did a little bit different, but definitely the same thing Tamara said is it's just like like a real open house. If you're not marketing and pushing it from the
Right.
beginning, then you're not going to get the attendance.
So who are you marketing this to? And how are you marketing this?
I'm marketing to all my past clients and, telling them to invite their friends and family because it seems like sometimes that's how you get a referral, the daughter or somebody needs to buy a house. So I market to them. I do a mass email marketing on constant contact. And then I do Facebook, Instagram, and all the social platforms.
Okay, so you market the open house. What about you guys?
Yep.
Same?
Yeah.
Are
Face.
you,
I'm trying to start doing more like with Instagram and stuff too, because I pretty much only been doing like Facebook, and then I'll do email. And another thing, I'm constantly trying to research it to get it better. So now what I'm actually going to do too is on my listings that I have, put which Brandon, I got to talk to you about, create like this little like kind of rider. Hey, this weekend from 12 to 2, tune into Zoom with Tamra for open houses, and this one is included there, or something like that, but some kind of rider that I'll put on all my listings to say, hey, this weekend, so that way people just driving by will also be able to hop on and see the open house. So another way to promote it.
okay. So what about, have you guys like gotten to other businesses in the area where the open house is? And I know that might be harder for you, Bobbie, because you're doing 3 of them, or are you guys all doing multiple open houses and during the virtual?
Doing multiple, but also
You are.
doing like Facebook ads. So I've done everything through Facebook groups, Facebook ads, email blasts too. But yeah, since it just makes more sense to do 3 now. I started off with 1, and I think they were the same, but it makes more sense to do 3 properties now.
So are they the same type of property, or are they varying in prices, areas? Are they, I mean, talk to us about that. How do you choose the multiple properties that you have for your virtual open house?
Well, mine are all different, only because mine are not my listings. So I have to, ask to see if we can get permission to market them. So they're going to vary. They're going to be a townhouse, maybe a house, and a condo, all different prices. But it seems to help too. So it's not just like one item.
Yeah. What about you guys?
I did 3 different houses, like for this week, the ones I've been going out and doing some filming. They've all been relatively close price, but different types of houses in different areas.
Okay. Tamara?
I haven't done the multiple yet. I'm just going to start doing that. I've always kind of focused one at a time because it takes me about 35 minutes or so to do my open house. And so I focus on that property. Going forward though, I think I'm going to start doing that like from, 12 to 2 type of thing and do those homes. And I've been lucky that I've been doing my own listings. So they're very different. I have, I had one that was a $300,000 home. I had a town home. I have a $850,000 home. So they're all types. So they're hitting all people. So I am going to put those together though, and see how that goes. I've been sticking to just single property open houses.
So you said your open houses last 35 minutes. So what do you talk about? Tell me what that looks like. Don't do a 35-minute dissertation on it. But
all right, so the Reader's Digest version.
Yeah, thank you.
Is I go on there and kind of say hi. I always have a picture of the house that I'm touring behind me, so that stays up the whole time. And then I bring up I'll share my screen, and then I go into the MLS and I go into the client view, and we kind of talk about some specifics of the home. And then before I go into the house, I go back into the MLS, into the satellite view of the property, an aerial photo. And I start talking about like what is nearby. So like whether it's a gun range, where's the grocery store, where's the nearest freeway, where's the nearest schools, elementary, high school, parks. If it's an equestrian house, where's the nearest, barn facilities, kind of coffee shops, hit some highlights around that area, and I'll literally scroll through and kind of show those in there. And then we go back to the house. I'll say, do we have any questions about, are you interested in something specific around that area? And then from there, we go into the pictures, and I go through each photo kind of one by one, like, okay, we're going through the house. This is what this looks like. This is what that looks like. And if you go over here on the right-hand wall, there's this, and then just kind of go into deep detail of each of those photos. And then I'll stop and do we have any questions, things like that. And then, and then have the mortgage minute. So if they have questions for the lender, say, hey, do you have any questions, blah, blah, blah. Then that takes a few minutes. And next thing you know, it's like 30, 40 minutes. So
Wow.
Yeah, but it flows really nicely. And then depending on how many people are on there and how many questions I have, it can give or take a little bit too.
So are you guys all using still photos for the open houses, or no?
I am.
So Tamra is. So Tyson, you shook your head no.
So I don't use Zoom. I do Facebook Live.
Okay. So how now, so the thing with Zoom though, right? So, and we were going to get into this too, is that with Zoom, you can have people register so you have their contact information. With Facebook Live, it's more of a whoever pops in, but you do them on groups, or you do them on how do you?
So when you do the Facebook Live, and that's the issue when I first started out, is figuring out how to capture their information. So when you do Zoom, they register and everything, but when live, you capture them basically by when they tune in. So your live video will have a record of everyone who tunes in. You could then go through the Facebook, see their profile, and then you can reach out to them through there. And yeah, you can take your live video and share it into multiple groups, so like Las Vegas yard sales, Las Vegas real estate group, all those pages and groups we're a part of, you can share the live video and run it live into those groups.
So you're physically walking the properties during the virtual open houses?
Yes.
Got it. Very cool. Bobbie, what about you?
So I use the pictures off the MLS, but also too, some of our team members use Matterport. So I've been using that to navigate through the house. And it just depends. Sometimes, the pictures show a little bit more. It's really strange, but sometimes it doesn't go in the backyard, so I need to show the picture. But either way, it works. If I have some great pictures, I'm going to use it. And I try to look for good pictures, because that's what we're here for, to show good good stuff. And the Matterport's awesome,
Yeah.
so.
And I've tried that with Matterport, but it doesn't work good for me when I'm on my calls. In fact, it's very hard to use, at least for me. And maybe it's a user error, I don't know, but it gets stuck. It doesn't turn where I want it to turn. And to me, I feel I did that once and I looked clumsy and I didn't like that. So I'm like, I would rather use my still photos. And then I tell them, hey, because I do Matterports on all my listings now. And I'll tell them, and then I'll share the link below, or I'll email you the info and give you the virtual tour link. But that's just been my issue with it, is it doesn't run as smooth for me for some reason, you know.
Do you both use Zoom for the virtual open houses?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So let's talk about lead captures, right? Because that's why you're doing it. Well, that and to please the seller, right?
Right. And
to show them
it.
and hopefully sell it. So let's talk about the lead. So how now the two of Bobbie and Tamra are getting people to register, obviously on Zoom, and now you have their contact information and you can reach out to them again. Tyson is going through Facebook Live and is capturing their contact information through Facebook. And reaching out to them. But how many people have you had, I think, a minimum and a maximum, right, of people that you've had tune into your virtual open houses? How often are you doing them? So I'm asking several questions. Is there a good day, a good time, or is it any time?
Well, I've been doing it for about, I don't know, I think we've done, 5 or 6, Shelley? So, and consecutively, we were doing them every weekend, except one day we did it on a Friday. But we've gotten 6 people, we've gotten 2 people, it just depends. And I don't know if there's a good day or time since we've just been starting it, so we're kind of just testing the waters right now. And then some of the people that are on there, because me and Shelley do buyer seminars too, so you know, I bring to the buyer seminar and then tell them to come to the open houses. So it kind of leads up to, it's you know, that way they can come and see the open houses after we've already talked to them initially. So, we haven't put anybody in contract yet from an open house, only because it hasn't been that long. So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Tamra, what about you?
So I've done 7 of them. I've had 1 listing appointment that I got from it.
Nice.
And I've had anywhere, I mean, I've had 1 person, I've had as little as 1, and the most I've had is 9 at one time. So, and I've had people come and go. But yeah, so, and that's where I say, like, I'm constantly learning how to promote it better, right? To get more people. And I think as people, and I've actually been trying to play with the times, like, is this time better? Is morning, lunchtime, afternoon, evening? So I'm actually going to try and play around with like an evening one, because maybe people are like done with whatever, and now it's time to kind of look at houses, right? Most people are kind of looking around 7 o'clock. So I think I'm going to try an evening one this next time and see if I can get actually more hits this way. So I'm still learning with the times and the days, you know, is weekends still better? I'm thinking weekends, people are kind of trying to do stuff, so they don't want to sit at their computer. So, you know, I'm still playing with that part to get more mass. So I'll keep you posted on that.
Awesome. Tyson.
So I've done it a couple of different ways. When I started, I did like a YouTube recorded video. I think the only person who signed up was Shelley to see it. And then actually this past weekend, I actually just got a text. The one I just did over the weekend, it got like 600 views. It was sitting on the market. Yeah. And it was sitting on the market for 3 months and just got an offer, and the agent said they saw it from Facebook.
No way.
Nice.
Yeah. So I just got the text on that. Well, I mean, it sucks for me because I didn't represent the buyer, but it's good. It got it sold. But the thing I'm trying to work on too is, because like I said before with the Facebook, the problem is you could only see who tunes in live. And with the time thing, you know, I only do it for about 30 minutes. So I'm working on a way to where I could keep it recorded and then also send it out, because not everybody's going to be able to be on that time. So I'm still working on some things, but, you know, trying to get it to where I can capture more information. And then also maybe even run it after I did it as an ad to capture information after I ran it.
Nice. Is there, so do you have engagement during these open houses?
Mm-hmm.
And Shelley, you are welcome to jump in anytime you want. You don't have to be
I don't want to
The
step
silent
on you.
supporter. No, please.
So a couple things. What I would say is if you think about the time that you're doing this for and the amount of leads that you're getting, that to me, because we usually will sit at an open house for 3 to 4 hours, right? And sometimes there'll be one person, but you're doing, like you just said, 35 minutes and you get, 9 people. You had a high of 9 people. So that amount of traffic, I think, is something to think about compared to the amount of effort that's really going into it. Some of that is marketing as well. And I don't mean to steal Bobbie's thunder on this, but I think one of the things that we did this week is we videotaped it, or we videotaped it. What is that? We recorded.
You have a VHS, do you have one of those? You got a record player?
Exactly, dating myself here. Is we recorded it on Zoom, right? And the Bobbie's gonna post it out for whenever somebody wants to sign in. And again, it's that lead gen opportunity, just to get somebody to kind of be able at their time, right? But at least they still get the same content. So I think for all 3 of them, they've been different, but still the same experience as far as, obviously it's not just lead gen, it's also to showcase this home or 3 homes or whatever the case may be. So.
And I think it helps you to show your value in the community and stuff still as well. Like I want to take that out. I talked for years about actually getting out to restaurants and different local places and haven't actually done it. I think I did 1 or 2 and then I found, went to the next new butterfly or whatever, right? So I think this is a great new way to do that. Like, so, go to a restaurant before my open house, kind of do a little interview there, and then I can kind of promote that on there as well. And guess what? That guy's going to remember that, and then we can have a reciprocal, relationship possibly. Yeah. So it's going to only get better, I think, in given time and stuff,
Well, I think it's great that you guys have tried something new and it's working for you. It's keeping you busy, essentially. It's making sure that the sellers are happy about the fact that you're doing something to sell their home. Because I think one of the things that we're struggling with the most right now is that, we're not really able to show, and you're allowed to go look at property. You just can't show tenant occupied property. So let's talk about that, because this is a great tool for that. Right?
Exactly.
Because if you can't show, and I'm putting in air quotes, if you can't show tenant occupied properties, but you can do virtual open houses on them, and now you're actually working to get that home sold. I think that is a huge value, because that could turn into a lead for you, right? Because nobody else is showing it.
I didn't know you could do that.
So you can have the tenant send you a video of the home, and you can do pictures, have the tenant take pictures for you and send it to you. And you can actually utilize virtual open houses look at that. We learned something new today. Yeah. I know. We could do, so you can show tenant occupied properties that way, as long as it's listed in the MLS. I think that's the key, right? As soon as you start public marketing, it has to be in the MLS within 1 business day. So let's talk a little bit about leads and how you're actually, whether you're converting them, following up on them. What are you doing about that? Anybody?
So I'll start. Okay. But yeah, just back to what I was saying. So I'm still kind of working on the best way to do it. But just following up with them, and then through the Facebook, since that's been my primary deal.
But 600 people?
That's what I'm working on, is because I'm working on a way to get the people captured after that, because the views after it's ran live, it won't show up as who looked at it.
Okay.
But basically treating it also, if you rerun it as a video and have people hit a landing page where they can receive the full virtual open house, you can collect their information that way. And just following up with it like it was any other lead. Hey, do you have any questions about the house? What did you think about it? Getting their feedback.
Okay.
Tyson,
Yeah, Shelley.
Really quick, can you do a bit.ly type of link? Would that allow you to be able to, if anybody clicks onto the link, then it shows you who got on there and how long they surfed on it or saw the video? Have you heard
I don't
Bitly?
know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Bitly. Yeah, but I don't know if you could embed that into Facebook.
Okay.
I'm going to look into that, though. That's a good question.
What's Bitly?
Bitly for Bobbie, you use it a lot on all your promotions, right? You want to talk about it?
Yeah, so for you, Tamara, I would definitely use it if you're going to be marketing. So you go to bit.ly.com And then what it does is it takes your link of the open house and then it shortens it. So it'll be bit.ly.com/Tamra's open houses.
Oh, okay.
So instead of having that big old long link,
Yeah, you
Oh,
can purchase the actual
it's actually,
link. Huh?
it's free.
Oh, never mind. Forget the purchasing thing. And it's
Nice.
bit.ly, right?
Yeah. It gives you
Yeah.
analytics, and I think it also lets you it tells you who's on there, right? And how long they've looked at the video or whatever it is that you're.
Yeah, it might, Shelley, I don't know.
See,
Well,
we're learning, we're growing.
This is awesome. The other thing is if you've got a link where they can go to and essentially register, right? You can put them, you can get clients to register to win something, right? You can still do the promotions. And so Tamara, I know you got really excited when I say that. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you take this one. Go ahead.
Well, because I just actually, because like you said, you know, with each one, we're kind of getting better and learning. And so I'm like, that's what I'm going to start doing to help promote it, right? Come visit my open house and win a, you know, $25 Panera gift card or a whatever, but start doing those, you know, and then start enticing people to just even show up because, you know, that's what we need, right? Is the numbers now. So I just saw, and then like there was a video I was watching last week on virtual open houses. Like I said, I'm constantly kind of surfing and I'm looking in other territories to see what people are doing, especially in the Austin area. Like, I don't know what it is about, but down in Austin and Texas, man, those people are on point. They're constantly doing stuff. So it's a good place to kind of follow stuff, but they're like enter into $1,000 whatever, you know, and what they do is they break that down though into little $100 gift cards or $50. So but you see that $1,000, you know, and it sparks people's attention, you know, or something. So that's the other thing I'm looking at is really kind of pizzazzing that marketing and then have some kind of gift, just like we would in the open house. I always had little, you know, pet basket raffles or something like that inside the open house. So why not do that virtually still too?
So we have a question from the audience. Doug Graff wants to know if you guys are using LinkedIn at all to market your
I haven't yet.
virtual.
I've used it, but I don't think it would do well with virtual open houses at all.
They don't have an option for that, right? It's only you can embed the video after it's been created and then submitted. So that's probably a good way to showcase the home, especially if you're doing videos on them. That might be a good way, but I don't see how you can do, because they don't have that live option as far as I know.
I don't think so. I'm trying to get in there more a little bit, but yeah.
So essentially you're not using LinkedIn for your business for promotion anyway, right? So that's never been.
I am.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I haven't, I should say I have in the past. I've been lacking, but I've used it before.
Got it.
In marketing.
So how does Shelley come into all of this? What role does Shelley play?
She brings the coffee.
She brings the coffee. Coffee is for closers.
That's right.
So are you guys doing them together, or are you doing them like this?
It's like this, but we're side by side, and then well on Zoom it looks like this. Everybody's underneath, that kind of thing. So,
But you two are in the same office together.
No, we're in different offices. We're all separate. So she'll come in, and then I introduce her. I have her do say something about I don't know, what do we talk about? Mortgage calculator. Then for a few minutes, and then I go into the open house. And then at the end, she goes over payments. So she'll go over how the down payment assistance, she'll go over that kind of thing. And then I go over our buyer seminar, and then that's pretty much it. If anybody has any questions, we go over that.
How long is your open house, the virtual open houses last, Bobbie?
Now, I think they're about 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And is that about the attention span of those who come on to Zoom?
Yeah, I mean, we might have one question, but other than that, well, the first one I did was one little condo, and it was like, I don't know, 10 minutes, and then that was about it. So that was like, okay, we're done, now what? And so we decided to do 3 of them together, and it's so much better.
Well, and the best part is you don't have to go to these properties, which is making
Right.
it easier to showcase 3 of them within 30 minutes. Like
And
that's
carry signs and sweat. And
Yeah.
I don't know. That's like the worst part. It's so embarrassing. I hate carrying signs out.
well, that's probably lessen the cost of marketing too, right? As far as like having to
Absolutely.
get signs out and knowing, especially if you're and all of these do count towards the open house challenge, by the way. So any of you who signed on to do that open house challenge early in the year, these would count towards your numbers for the open
Oh, I
house
didn't know we were
challenge.
doing that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for reading your newsletter, Tamara.
I know. I
You
slack.
haven't
I'm not
been
even
putting it
gonna
in the
lie.
newsletter.
as
I used to read them religiously, but I've definitely slacked lately.
You're so funny. So Shelley, how does this work for you?
So I really am a support for the group here, in one, moral support, and then two, like we talked through afterwards how it went, some things that we can change, and it has really like evolved over time, even for my stuff. So the beginning, like I'll talk a little bit about like programs and pricing, and now I've got this the property comparison tool, because Bobbie's doing 3, but you can do 1 or 2 or 3. It's just like the financing option flyer that we put into the house and have there. But it is something that I send out as a link, so Bobbie can attach it to her email to the people who have actually come on and responded to it. And the minute that they click on the link, it requires them to input their email address, but then we know that they've clicked on this link. But it's truly just an opportunity for them to see what the payments look like, the down payment looks like, and then we talk about, you know, some of the down payment assistance. We talk a little bit about rates, whatever questions the buyers may have. It's probably like a 5-minute piece for myself, if that. But
Yeah.
it is really more support, just to be there for them.
Got it. And then let's talk about the sellers and how they're reacting to these. Like, what are your sellers saying? Tamara, you're the only one that's really doing your own, right?
They love it. You know, they love it. So especially sitting in, they're like, oh, that went really good. So they think it's great. I've had no complaints from the sellers. They're thrilled.
Yeah. What about Bobbie, Tyson? Have you gotten a chance to ask the sellers hey, you
So
know?
the first one I did, where it was a YouTube video, it wasn't my listing, but I met the sellers and everything, and they loved the idea of having the virtual tour with everything going on. And I think it's a huge value to show your seller, or on a listing presentation, you know, how many people this can reach and what it can do.
Yeah, because our world is changing, right? It's becoming more and more virtual on a daily basis, whether we want to, you know, take that in or not. That's going to be a good chunk of our reality moving forward as well. So why not make this a part of your marketing strategy when you're sitting down? So good point, Tyson. And then what kind of questions are you guys getting during these virtual open houses? Like, what's the silliest? What's the best? What are
Is
what
that
are
hardwood in the closet? Stuff like that.
Yeah. The same typical questions. Well, is it a good neighborhood, or you know, you get pretty much the same ones. I think for me, I have like, can I say this? Diarrhea of the mouth. So I give almost so much information. There's
Yeah. If I say shit and they don't X me out, you're good.
Yeah. So I go over so much stuff that there's not a whole lot of questions, except for your typical, you know, what's the school like over there? How big is the room? They might ask how big, and that's why so when I do my shared screen, I have the client view that they can actually see, but then I have my agent view over here where I can actually give dimensions, you know, and I always remind them, like, especially if it's an empty photo, that it actually could fit, you know, a king size bed. I'll get some of those details from the seller, like what kind of furniture did you have in there, things like that. So I haven't had really any silly questions. It's literally been the typical, and I just tell them drive by all different times of the day and see what you think, you know, so.
Yeah. Bobbie?
Same thing. They'll say, what does the HOA include? You know, just the same type of questions too as a normal open house. And that's pretty much about it. Just the basic stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get ready to open this up to some of the some of the people that are listening in as well. So you know, the attendees that are listening in, because we've never really had a chance. I know that a lot of us are, because we're not doing this live, right? We always give a few minutes to the attendees to ask questions. So if there are any questions, I want to make sure that you guys put them in the chat. There's a Q&A section I encourage you to use as well. Because I want to make sure that we answer all of your questions. They have been doing these for a while, and I know that it is still a learning curve for you guys, but I appreciate you being on here to really, you know, teach the agents that there is another opportunity. Don't just, like Tamra said, stay home and not do anything, right? You have an option, and to take advantage of that. Do you guys have any, yes, Brandon?
You're muted,
Yeah.
Brent. Oh.
Right, I just muted. But if you have questions, you can post them on Facebook too. I'm monitoring that, and we'll get those answered. But first of all, I think you guys should be commended for going out and trying to figure this out and being on the cutting edge of it. A couple things. Number one, you can broadcast live on LinkedIn, but you have to fill out an application and get approved. And so to me, that might be a platform that you go after, because if it's a little harder to do it, less agents will do it. You might own that that platform. The other thing is, I don't know how many of you use TikTok or not, but I understand if you have 1,000 followers, you can go live on TikTok too. And so that might be another demographic or opportunity for you as well. And then I just had a question. You guys, has anyone set up a YouTube channel that these are being posted on, or what are you doing with your recordings?
Yeah. So Bobbie records them. Tyson records them. Tamara hasn't quite recorded it, but she's working on it.
I recorded them, but then they don't say, I'm like I said, I'm still figuring all that out. I hate computer stuff, to be honest. So I really need somebody to come and show me like how to like save it, you know, do whatever. Get it onto YouTube. I don't even know how to upload it to YouTube. So
yeah. So my question, or would this be a benefit to you if we created a company virtual open house page that you guys could all on YouTube, that you guys could upload all your stuff to, and any agent, would that be a benefit?
Absolutely.
So we'll get that set up then too. And I know Tyson's also set up a virtual open house Facebook page.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to tell you guys too, is I set up a virtual open house Facebook group. I think there's a couple out there that are like just Las Vegas open houses. So I figured I'd set one up for virtual open houses. Anybody can join. It's literally just called Virtual Open House Las Vegas and Henderson. And then the goal is to kind of make that a page where everybody could come in and throw their open houses. So it's just another market to hit.
Okay. We did have a question. Do we have a coach that can help us do our first virtual open house from start to finish, and how to market it online? So we do have a coaching program here at Signature. If that's something that you're interested in, that'll sort of help you in all aspects of your real estate career and your personal life, from what I understand. Now, as far as a coach for virtual open houses, Shelly, like I said, is the sort of the glue between all three of these guys, right? And she's been really doing a lot to support. So she's seen it from 3 different ways that it's been done. And I don't know how involved you are in Tyson's virtual open houses. And I keep saying, you're the glue.
He's about to get a lot more involved. I got some things I need to talk to her about.
Well then, okay. So, but Shelly's probably a good point person to talk to, because she has done these. Not just for these 3 guys, right? You've been doing them for other people as well. So you're a good point person to help coach through your first virtual open house from start to finish, and she'll help with the marketing aspect of it as well.
She has some awesome ideas.
Good. Shelly, sorry, I saw you unmuted yourself. Let's hear it.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, it's our whole team, right? Not just me, but I have had the benefit of being part of it with these 3 on here, just because it was one of those things where like, hey, we did them all the time, right? In the beginning. So, I mean, we've done them in the past. And so we all came together to say individually, like, we still have to continue to do these open houses. It's just in our blood to do, right? One piece of our business. And so how do we do that? So that's how all of this kind of evolved. So I think for any agent who feels that this is a big piece of their business. It really, I don't feel like, and maybe because I'm not on the MLS and all the other different things that I can see, but from the viewer side, as a supporter, it really just seems like you're walking through a borrower or walking a borrower through the exact same thing as if you'd have them right in front of you going through your MLS items, but then you add that element of walking them through the home as you're going through the screen thing. So I think it's a lot easier than it looks. And then I would just encourage everybody to just go for it and try, right? Put your foot down and start moving, because that's how you're going to figure out how to get it done. Because I mean, as we've done 5 of them and they've all evolved from day one, from one 10-minute video to, and I think the 10-minute was really like afterwards, we're kind of like, cool, that was kind of awesome. Now what? And then we added on to the next piece. So just, yeah. And if you do need help, know that we're here. I'm here for you and the whole team is here for you.
So one thing that you mentioned, Shelley, that I think I want to reiterate too, is you said the MLS. So not reiterate, but add on to, there is now a place on the MLS where you can actually post for virtual open houses. And so if you aren't utilizing that tool, again, it's similar to how people who may be interested in that community would get information for the open house. It's very similar, where it would still go to all of the, be syndicated and whatnot. So lots of people can hear about your open houses, the days and times that you're doing them. You should be posting them on there. Yes, Tyson?
Absolutely.
Yeah, does that syndicate through Zillow like a normal open house?
That's what I've been told. Yeah, I haven't tried this, which is why you guys are on there. But Tamra, I'm assuming you've used it.
Yeah, that's how the agents that have shown up to my open house, they said that's how they found it too, is online. So through
That's
Zillow.
awesome.
And
one more thing too is
link.
Yeah, Realtor.com has actually set up virtual open houses
Yeah.
type deal for your listings. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but so when someone sees your listing on Realtor.com, it can have virtual open house times, and they could go directly through that, and it cooperates with Zoom too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
So
I think on that really quick too, Realtor.com. So
yeah, have any of you done an open house through Remind live streaming?
I didn't know you could live stream through there.
So
you know what
Maricruz,
Remind
Remind, it's that new system.
Oh,
It's
the
been around
CRM?
for a while, yeah. But Maricruz has one scheduled for this weekend, so she was seeing if there were any ways to get pointers on that. But I would encourage you, Maricruz, to reach out to any one of these guys to assist you with that, and they'll figure it out with you, especially Shelley, right? That's what she's been doing. Tim Lowe has a question. When you are on Zoom, how are you specifically handling a question that might come up from a viewer that you don't know the answer to at that moment? But since the seller is watching, you want to get them to respond, or is it by text, or do you have them send you an answer through the chat on Zoom? How does that work?
For me, I haven't really ran into that. But I would probably have the seller reach out to me first, because like I said, I don't want them meeting up, just like in a typical situation, right? Because you never know, the seller might say something that can derail the deal or put some, so I'm really careful with that, and I'm very firm on that with my seller. If they are going to be a part of it, that they need to be as a onlooker, so to speak. And plus I like it because it has people to my numbers. So, but I don't let them, I'll even have them ask questions sometimes, like, hey, if it gets a little dead, can you ask, does this backyard have a, whatever, is it automated sprinklers, something stupid like that, but just so that there's some interaction. But I don't want them talking to, and maybe that's a bad thing, I don't know, like I said,
do they know who the seller is?
Yeah,
no.
I was gonna say, yeah, they don't know.
Okay, so
they don't know.
they're
They just
looking
see,
quiet.
they just see Tyson Roberts. They don't know Tyson Roberts at that point is the seller.
The seller's like, ooh, that's an awesome house. I'm gonna
Yeah,
put an offer in now.
Oh my gosh, is that shutters throughout the whole home? That's awesome. I had my daughter on one because nobody signed up. I'm like, Alyssa, you're getting on here right now. It's
So
just to help
you
with
plant
too, and it helps me get better, right? But and I don't know, Brandon, Vondana, maybe you have a better response to that. I just don't know that I want the sellers really talking to people.
Well, no, I agree. I agree that you shouldn't have the seller responding during that time. But I also think it's a really good opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to reach out to the seller, get that answer
That's
for
what-
you, and I
yeah.
will call you back. Thank you for
Yeah.
registering. Thank you. I see Brandon's giving me a thumbs up, like I
Yeah.
like I got like
And
I
that's what
want
I would-
something.
Yeah, that's what I would do. If I feel like I said, I haven't really ran into that yet. So, but if I did, I would just be my thing when Tyson even was asking that is like, I would do like anybody or Tim, like I would in a normal open house. You know what? I'm not sure, but I'm going to find that answer out for you and get right back to you, you know, kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
I really handle a lot of the situations the exact same as I would in a real open house, you know, so just try
Yeah.
to make it a little more fun. Because talking to, when you're the only one talking, it gets a little weird, right? Like, you're just like, so please, does anybody have a question? You know,
It's that awkward silence moment. I get it when I'm teaching classes too, where I'll ask a question
Exactly.
and I'm like, hey guys, if you need participation points, like this is where you get them. And it could be,
Exactly.
you could use that as an opportunity to say, hey, if you ask me a question about this house, you get an extra raffle, you know,
Yeah,
your
that's a good
name gets
point.
put into the raffle
Yeah,
great
to
idea.
win, blah, blah, blah. And that way you encourage people to, one, pay attention, two, to actually ask the questions, to really,
Exactly.
hey, I'm really good at this. I might actually do virtual open houses. So,
Yeah.
you guys have motivated me.
That's
Not really.
right.
I think this is it's a good
I can help you, Dee. I can help you.
Thanks, Shelley. You're the glue, girl.
No,
the
you're
glue.
keeping busy with us.
You guys have all claimed her. So somebody did ask if there were any restrictions on doing Facebook Live. I'm not sure. It says on a random van camp.
Vacant. It was a random
Oh,
vacant house. And to
Random.
answer the question is, yeah, I'm always asking permission to advertise. Like I made a post yesterday, okay, who has vacant properties that I can go and do a virtual open house. But I'm not just like seeing a vacant one and going and doing it, because it's the same if, from my understanding, is I can't advertise something without the listing agent's permission.
Exactly.
Correct. You are correct in that. Thank you. So your advertising rules don't go out the window just because we've moved to this new virtual lifestyle of doing open houses. You still have to get permission from the seller, or sorry, from the listing agent in order to advertise their home. This would be the same as advertising their property. So get those for sure. Now, would this be a good chance to maybe do virtual open houses on FSBOs? What?
I was actually just thinking about that this morning, and I wanted to, I was going to ask Chris or someone actually what that looks like and kind of what we need permission wise.
The same as you would anything else. You could still do virtual open house with the permission of the seller now.
Just written permission.
Yeah, you just need something from them saying that you're authorized to go through the property, do virtual open houses, and that they'd be willing to pay you compensation if you found a buyer for them, right? That would be ideal. So, you could open this up to FSBOs. We talked about earlier, you could open this up to tenant occupied properties. If there's homes that are currently on the market that are maybe temporarily off the market, but there's pictures available, for a fact, especially the way that you're doing them, Tamra. So Tyson, it would be harder for you because you're walking through the properties doing your Facebook Lives. You wouldn't be able to do that on tenant occupied properties, but you could do what Tamra's doing with pictures that are already available, or what Bobbie's doing with the 360 virtual tours that are the Matterports that are already available. You could still, do that in your virtual open houses for tenant occupied properties. And if they're temporarily off the market, that means there's a listing agent. They're allowed to do public marketing. They just taken it temporarily off the market because it's tenant occupied. You can't show tenant occupied properties.
One thing would like to add too is because it can kind of be intimidating if you are going to go live into a virtual open house. Like I know I ran through the open house and did it like 3 times before it actually went live. But there's actually software out there that we actually use at Signature to do a lot of the meetings and stuff, where you can record a video and then run it live. And then you can also talk and engage and answer questions through those software.
So that way you're not actually doing it at the time. You can concentrate on what people are. That's awesome.
So it's pre-recorded, but you can run it live so you can actively engage them. And I'm working on a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of different ways you can do the virtual open houses. I think we all do it a little bit different. But just getting out there and doing it.
Yeah. So let's talk about what you're actually utilizing, right? So Bobbie, are you doing just Zoom? Like that's your main, that's how you're doing everything, and that's the only equipment you need is Zoom?
Yes. So as far as recording it, I just did a recording with Shelly yesterday, so I might chat with you for a minute, Tyson, on that. But so we were doing them live, like Tamra, and then we try to decide, because what's happening is we're doing it on a Saturday morning, and then somebody registered on a Monday, that person would forget. Even though I would send them reminders till Saturday, they would forget. So when I clicked on some webinar, I got it automatically. I didn't have to wait 4 days or anything. So I was talking to Shelly about this. So we recorded it yesterday. I haven't finished it, but we're going to do that today. So if somebody goes to the Eventbrite or the Facebook Live, and I get an email, it'll tell me somebody registered, I can email them the open house. So they get it right away. We're going to just, we're test driving that this week to see how that works. If it's a little bit more engaging, maybe, you know, I can follow up with them right away.
So that free software that Tyson actually mentioned, Brandon posted it in the chat. It is called OBS Project, OBS as in Sam, project.com. And so it's in the chat if anybody's interested, and I'm assuming Brandon will put it in the Facebook as well. You know, for our live, I'm going to stop talking. I'm in the middle of a sentence and I'm forgetting what I'm going to say because I was going to ask. So are you, and then Tyson, Tamra, are you guys like, if you are, and Tamra, you're pretty much all Zoom too, right? Like that's the only equipment that you need.
Yeah, I'm looking at other ones, having other options for people who are still leery of Zoom to maybe see, okay, how can I do this with, because now Google Meets, I guess, you're able to do like live meetings like this too. So I'm looking at other things, but for right now, Zoom works, you know, so I just got to get better at connecting all the dots, like with the Facebook Live. And I know I had asked Brandon about that OBS project too. And then I went through a crazy transaction and got completely pulled away.
Yeah.
So, but to where then you can kind of repost it and get more traction, I think, you know, and then you're going live at different times of the day. So you're not even have to actually do it. You can just have it out there and then answer questions maybe or something. So,
and then Tyson, are you using like a gimbal or some gimbal,
So,
whatever that thing's called when you're walking through the property? Or are you just holding the camera? What's going on with?
yeah, so I've used both to do it. It's kind of different. You kind of have to figure out how to flip the camera angles and stuff like that. I think if you were to pre-record it and then run it like live, you would want to use a gimbal, because then you can cancel out like all the sounds of your steps and everything, get some really good smooth footage. And then while you're running it live, you know, you can just be sitting in your office commenting as if you were actually there walking through it at the time. But yeah, you can do it both. It's pretty easy. Gimbal, even without a gimbal, just turning your phone, make sure it's sideways, never do up and down. It doesn't work with Facebook. It doesn't sync to anything. You always want to be that way.
Got it. What
and do you use a like microphone or something, Tyson? Because I know like when I've looked at some folks that are doing the live open houses where they're doing the walkthrough basically, it gets really echoey and really hard to hear, which is kind of distracting, I think, if you're watching it. And I know a couple I've turned off because it was so distracting. Are you doing something to prevent that?
Yeah, so I talked to Brandon about this too, is because when you go live, the video quality isn't the greatest either. So if you were to take your phone and gimbal, go record a property, get really smooth, clean footage, and then you run it live through the software, and you hooked up a microphone, you can have, you know, crystal clear video, have some production quality behind it. You know, you're talking to a mic, you don't have the wind or anything, and you voice it over and answer questions and everything.
Okay, that's a good point, because like a couple weeks ago I did some walkthroughs, right? Live walkthrough showings and stuff like that. And it's great. And then you'll get into another room and then all of a sudden it's like echo and nobody wants to hear that, right? So it's like, I want to do those, but I also want it to be decent when it goes out and people aren't going to turn it off. Because I know for myself, walked away from some because they were so like, it was hard to hear and listen to it.
Yeah.
Tamara, you can record that stuff and you could actually do it right through Zoom, just like you're doing now.
You
And
can.
just talk about the video as it's filming, just like you would a still photo. So you could just pre-record the stuff and still run it just like you're running.
Through Zoom.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a good idea. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, just do it quietly, don't even talk or anything like that.
Yeah. And then
you
talk
just
as you're actually doing it. I like that.
The other thing I was going to say is that I do that class that I have on how to do a successful open house. A lot of the stuff that I teach in that class would apply through virtual open houses. But here's the best part about virtual open houses is that you can actually do a community-wide open house for 3 or 4 or 5 properties in the same community, and then do a huge marketing push for that community and the surrounding areas, the businesses there, all of that, and then just do a community-wide open house. I encourage you guys to look into that for the next week. It would take a week of planning because you'd have to send out postcards, get out, go onto the neighborhood sites or whatever is available to push out the open house.
Like that.
But if you could get, thank you. But if you could get, permission from all of the listing agents who aren't doing them right now, whether it's tenant occupied, owner occupied, or whatever, you can actually showcase that whole community and let people know, like, hey, if you're looking in this area, I've got 4 homes to showcase this week and 4 homes to showcase, on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever. And you just do every single day, you'll do a different house of the community for the whole week and just commit the whole week. So there's a lot of ways that you can make this a big deal. Now I'm going to encourage you, Tyson, on the way that you're doing your open houses is to get some form of registration, right? Whether it's, hey, if you ask a question in here or, message me or go on this website and maybe right before you go Facebook Live, you can actually put a link right on top of the Facebook Live that says enter to win. Or
you don't want to put a link into Facebook post because it reduces, it won't go out. But I know what you're saying but I do want to add that too, is never add any links to that Facebook post because Facebook doesn't want you to leave Facebook, so it minimizes your reach.
You can put it into the comment, right? That's usually
yes. Yeah, putting it in the comments.
How they grow.
What
about signs? I mean, if you did one of those community like a community open house and you have like a big sign that says, I mean, I think you had mentioned Zoom with Tamra and people, because there's so many people out there walking right now, even now that we're starting to drive around, and you don't see a lot of signs. So before, your open house signs were buried, right, with other open house signs. You'd probably be one of the few that stands out, just even for exposure, just that to let everybody know you're still doing business.
So virtual open houses for this community Monday at 9 a.m. or every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. zoomwithtamra.com.
Yeah.
So one thing too is like, because I was thinking about that. What if you did like a sign writer, like Tamra said, and you had a QR code or the text this, and it sends their information to you, and then they just get a whole copy of the open house. And even when open houses do come back, there's nothing to say that you can't do both. You go door knock and you pass out your flyers. Hey, you could come see the house in person or QR code or go to this link and get the virtual open house.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great opportunity, again, like Brandon was saying earlier, to have a YouTube channel, showcase all of these properties, and then have people keep going back to them. And that's a conversation right there with the seller when you're sitting down at a listing appointment. Hey, look, I do a virtual open houses. Here's my YouTube channel where I've done them, or, and then you can bring in your videos from TikTok, from Facebook, from whatever. All of those would be valuable, I think.
Yeah. I like that. That's good stuff.
And we're getting to that time at 10:30. Any parting thoughts here? Anything you want to tell anything you want to tell the viewers and the listeners?
I would just like to say, if you're not doing any of the virtual open houses, I think you're missing out on a big opportunity. Like nobody's doing them right now. And the person who's going to figure out the best system and how to do it and everything is going to dominate the virtual open houses.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a way. I think this isn't going to go away. I think people are going to like this. And so it's worth doing it now, and if you are slow, what better time to utilize your time than to learn something and become great at it,
Right.
Better than burning your hands on open house signs in the summer.
Hello, sweating in heels and all that stuff.
Sweaty
Right.
and yeah.
Buying and eating all the cookies. Oh, sorry. Did I?
Yeah,
did I-
exactly.
Yeah, Shelly always bringing crumble cookies. I gotta eat them all if nobody comes.
That's funny.
To say that if anybody has any listings, to post them on Agents of Signature for all three of us, if you guys want us to utilize it, because even if all three of us use it, we don't have the same audience.
Exactly.
Send you the
we
video,
will
too.
Promote the heck out of your listing.
Yeah, so post them for us.
Nice. All right. And then also, Shelly, not to forget what you had put in there, but there's a link that you put into the chat that you send out for property comparisons. It's mbshighway.com. I'm not sure.
Well, get with one of us. Anybody at Prosperity Lending has the ability to do these property comparisons. And so it's a specific link that goes directly to whatever the home is, and has all the information specific to the property or properties.
So that's the important thing too, guys, is that Prosperity Lending is still working. All of the loan officers are still out there willing to support you, whether it's through the virtual open houses that you want to do, or any other marketing type thing, anything you want to do to get borrowers approved, sellers to sell their home, whatever it is, reach out to them. You can find all their information. In fact, I put it in the newsletter every single week. There's a link that goes out to the Prosperity Lending page specifically for Las Vegas, and you can find each one of them if you don't have their info. Brandon, did I miss anything? Did we get it?
No, I think it was an awesome panel. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate the information you shared. And I know if anybody needs anything, there's a lot of minds working on this now. So I think collectively as a group, we can figure this out.
Yeah. I think, we can get together and have another little mastermind and really get this great. Because I think, like Bonden has said, like we're all doing something slightly different, but imagine if we kind of piece that together.
Yep.
I think we can just dominate. So.
Yep. So, and I think the parting words here is, if you have a question about virtual open houses and how to do them, these three guys are willing to help. I know they didn't say that, but I'm telling you, that's kind of how we work here at Signature. We are all a family and we're willing to help you succeed. So reach out to any one of these three, reach out to any one of the brokers, reach out to Shelly and anybody on her team to help you get virtual open houses as part of your business plan for the future, because this is not going away. And with that, don't forget, we have our virtual office hours at 10:30 to 11:30. So I'm going to jump off of this and go on to there. Thank you so much for being here. Please, 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 be safe out there. Make it a great open house. What did Shelly said? We should do a SREG open house blitz weekend. I agree.
Yeah.
So Shelly's going to organize that. Reach out to her. You make a suggestion.
Everybody spread love.
Spread love.
Yes.
Spread love. Thanks so much.
100%.
Go sell some shit.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.